What's up, guys? It's Dekkster here, and Descent of Dragons is coming out like tomorrow, right? Super excited about it. And I thought I'd just compile like 5 decks or so that I'm really excited to play on day 1. Now, if you haven't played on day 1 before, it really doesn't matter if your deck is really that good. You kind of just, you mess around, you have a good time, and you're going to get some wins as long as you play okay, because no one's playing anything too refined. So don't craft any of these. Please don't craft any of these, especially, well, just don't craft anything the first couple weeks, especially if you're tight on dust, right? If you have a ton of dust you can throw around, why not? Go ahead and craft some stuff. But generally, it's advised to not craft anything until the meta has stabilized. So the first list we're going to look at here is a Dragon Ramp Druid. And I do think some form of Dragon Ramp Druid will be meta, maybe tier 2. Maybe even higher, but they got such strong cards through like Embiggen, which we're running 2 of here because it's almost like Keleseth, but it gives +2/+2 instead. It does increase the mana cost, but that might be offset by Breath of Dreams, which gives you an empty mana crystal and draws a card as long as you have a dragon in your hand. So in order to, you know, kind of make that worth, we have a bunch of dragons, such as the Emerald Explorer, which I think might be one of the best dragons from this set. And then we got Ysera in here. We have a Dragon Breeder in order to get more value. Maybe you end up using that usually on an Emerald Explorer. We got Big Ol' Whelp in here for some draw, Evasive Draconids, and then also Twin Tyrants, I think are being slept on a little bit. I think this card is actually going to surprise people. We'll have to see how it actually feels though, once it finally sees some play. Since we have so many dragons in our deck, we do have Frizz, Kindle Roost in here. Seems like they're gonna get pretty good value. We do have other survivability tools here with like Wrath and then Ferocious Howl for the armor. We got Floop, which will turn into probably usually a Ysera, but really it's going to be, it's a flexible card. We got Psych Melon to pull that Ysera more consistently. And then we got Nourish for a little more ramp or card draw, depending on what you need. So really liking this list, really excited to mess around with that. We also have a hand Dragonlock or Dragon Handlock, really whatever you want to call it here. So Handlock has always kind of been a thing. It wasn't really popular last expansion, it just wasn't great. But it seems like it's coming back into the forefront. They did print Valdris Fellgorge, which increases your hand size to 12, which that's cool, right? That's really cool, especially for Handlock. So we have a lot of cards to kind of take advantage of this large hand size through Mountain Giant, being able to throw them out for very cheap. Twilight Drake, because it'll have a bunch of health. Wing Commander, because you're going to have dragons in your hand, since this is Dragon Handlock. It's going to have a lot of attack. On top of this, Warlock just has some strong dragons with Zeraku the Warped, actually seeming pretty good. The more I think about it, you slam this thing down, your opponent kind of has to deal with it. They end up hitting you in their face, you're gonna make them regret that, right? And then we have Crazed Netherwing, which is just Hellfire on a stick, so that's some of our AoE. Also, because of our large hand size, Abyssal Summoner, hopefully getting a large taunt. So I think this deck's gonna be pretty good. It may run out of value. I guess that's what I'm worried about, but you should be able to do pretty fine. We'll have to see how the meta ends up forming. If people start going for like infinite value stuff, well, I guess a lot of this just won't be as great. But the Dragon Ramp Druid does have a lot more value. Maybe being able to Dragon Breeder your Floop after you've played Ysera or something like that. So yeah, the Druid deck, more value, but Dragon Handlock, it's gonna be a good time. Okay, so we got an abomination of a deck here, Quest. Highlander Hunter is essentially what this is, and I kind of wanted to stick more towards decks that had a lot of new cards instead of just going with an older archetype pre-existing one. It kind of just throwing, you know, 2-3 new things in it. But this one is, I guess it doesn't have too many new things, but it'll feel like a new deck because not a lot of people were playing Questlander Hunter. A lot of people were playing Quest Hunter. Well, I guess not that many, but this excites me. It excites me a lot. Quest Hunter was so much better than Questlander Hunter because it had Swarm of Locusts, which is still a really good card. But now we have stuff like Shuma, and Shuma maybe fills that void. And on top of that, we have a little more incentive to play Highlander because of Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. So that'll give us a little more value through that. Not only that, but we got Bran in here. We got Zephyrus. So that's a really nice Highlander package. As far as new cards that we're running here, we got Clear the Way. Since we're going to be able to summon so many rush minions, that's going to get its value for sure. We do have a Diving Griffin here, which is going to be pretty solid. We got the Dragon Maw Poacher, which we're going to see a lot of dragons, at least for first week, right? Maybe at some point dragons will somehow fall out of the meta. I doubt it, but I guess it's possible. But Dragon Maw Poacher, definitely fine as a one of in here. Then we got Faceless Corruptor, and Faceless Corruptor is going to turn one of our small dudes into a medium-sized dude with Rush. So I like that quite a bit. Again, we got Shuma in here, which if they can't deal with it, it's just going to get out of hand, and hopefully they can't deal with it. I'm really excited to maybe make some highlights out of this deck. And then Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza, putting more dragons in your hand. Cheap dragons, super cheap, 0 mana. So very excited to try this one out. Probably just Quest Hunter is going to be better, but god dang if I'm a sucker for Highlander Quest. All right, we got Pirate Faceless Warrior here. I think a lot of people are going to be messing around with Pirate Warrior. So this might not be too different from other people's lists. I feel like you really can't vary from the package that they've given you. You know, the pirate package with the Sky Raider, the Ankar, the Sky Barge, the Brigand, the Horde Pillager. Like these are all cards that you're going to see in like pretty much every Pirate Warrior deck in the future. Now, Horde Pillager, we do want to get good value, so we've limited the weapons that we have in the deck. We only have Ankar and we have 2 Arcanite Reapers, right? So hopefully before you play your Pillager, you've already destroyed one of your weapons, and then you can get full value by playing that and getting, boom, an Arcanite Reaper back in your hand. Pretty nutty, right? Maybe you even want to fit like an upgrade in here. Probably not. You kind of just use the Horde Pillager as an upgrade almost, right? But we do have Town Crier in here, which will pull our Rush minions. And for our Rush minions, we have 2 Restless Mummies on top of 2 Faceless Corruptors. And the Faceless Corruptors going to be really good for either just trading or upgrading your pirates, right? Your pirates have maybe value traded, or maybe you're just hitting on like your Sky Raider, or maybe even your Town Crier. Maybe on turn 6, you play the Crier pulls the Faceless, and use the Faceless on the Crier, something like that. I think this deck's going to be pretty strong. Very aggro deck. You might run out of steam relatively early. I'm worried that it might just, not be able to pull through. But I think it's going to do fine, at least for the first week, right? This is a mid-range Dragon Rogue that's actually from J. Alexander, the Rogue God. So I thought, why not just take a look at this one? If you want to play a ton of new cards, you might want to try this out. I do think like Death Rattle Rogue is probably going to be way better, but Dragon Rogue, I mean, it's the first day. I want to play some dragons. I don't know about you guys. So we got a ton of new cards in here. We got the Bloodsail Flybooter, which is not a dragon, but it's an amazing card in Rogue, a great combo activator. We got Candle Breath, which is essentially 3 mana, draw 3. That's pretty dang good. We got Flick in here, which is going to destroy something and all its copies, which will be fun. We got Battle Mage, which just, it's well statted for a 1-drop. Now we start getting to more crazy dragons, right? We got the Fairy Dragon. It's kind of just annoying to deal with, kind of similar to Evasive Feywing over here. And then we have Scale Rider, which kind of substitutes that slot of an SI7 agent. I wonder if SI7 is just going to end up being better in here since we do have the Flybooter. Probably not, because we're running dragons, right? Evasive Feywing may be really annoying to deal with. Fairy Dragon on its own already super difficult for opponents to deal with, especially opponents just running like spells for removal, right? They're not running minions that can slap into things. So Feywing may be surprising everybody, hopefully. And then we got Frizz in here, which can discount, what do we have? 8+ dragons, so might as well be running Frizz. You pull Frizz early, you're going to discount like at a 20+ mana or something. It's going to be nuts. Big ol' Whelp to just constantly pull more dragons. Imagine Big ol' Whelp once it's been discounted by Frizz. That's pretty crazy, right? Faceless Corruptor, we're going to be seeing a lot of this card. I say don't craft a lot of things, but if you have Dust, like craft Faceless, it's probably worth. I imagine this is going to be relevant until it rotates out. And it's just a rare card, so I kind of feel comfortable saying that. It'd be hard to recommend crafting something like Frizz, although Frizz seems pretty dang good. We also got Evasive Worm, which doesn't seem too great at 6 mana in my opinion, but it does strengthen our sort of dragon archetype, being able to more consistently pull off Candle Breaths. And if we have hit Frizz on the Evasive Worm, it's a 4 mana 5/3 with Divine Shield Rush. Also can't be targeted, so pretty good. But yeah, those are 5 decks that I have for day 1. There's a ton more to play. There are several Galakron decks you can play, and probably even different variations of those Galakrons. Maybe they're more aggro, maybe they're more control-y, value oriented. There's going to be like pirate builds of some different decks. There's going to be death rattle decks. You could just redo quests. You can do Highlander, even decks that don't even have class specific Highlander cards like Hunter and Mage might still want to try going Highlander because now they have Alexstrasza, right? So many cool things to mess around with. Don't limit yourself to anything. Just try crazy stuff, but at the same time, make decks based around what you open with your packs. Don't necessarily be like, oh, you know, Dekkster played Dragon Ramp, I'm gonna craft, I don't know, Ysera. Like, don't do that. Well, you could do that. I don't know. You can make your own decisions. You're a grown adult. But that's about it. Hope you guys are pumped. I'm pumped. If you like the video, please. It helps me out. Good luck on ladder and stay hydrated.